Hello aspirants, this is a quick video on permanent settlement. Well, we are launching a quick video series wherein I'll be covering up the important topics that are important from prelims as well as mains perspective. For today's discussion, I have picked the permanent settlement. Let me tell you, in past years, a decent number of questions have been asked from this section. So indeed, it is an important topic from the prelims as well as mains perspective. So let's get started. Well, the permanent settlement, it was introduced by Charles Cornwallis. Let me give you a brief idea about him. Charles Cornwallis, he was the British commander during the American War of Independence, and he was the Governor General of Bengal. In fact, he was the Governor General of Bengal when the permanent settlement was introduced in 1793. Now, this permanent settlement, why was it introduced? What was the need of introducing the permanent settlement? Well, in order to understand vividly about the permanent settlement, we'll have to go back to 1790s. In 1790s, the rural economy in Bengal was in deep crisis, and it was on account of two reasons. First, there was this famine-like situation, and the second, the agricultural output was declining. So, in order to resolve all these problems, the British officials conceived a plan of permanent settlement. Let me tell you, when the British occupied the Bengal region, they thought that they would extract a huge amount of money from this region, but it wasn't happening. And moreover, the agricultural prices were depressed. So they thought the solution to all these problems could be this permanent settlement. So under this permanent settlement, the revenue rates had to be fixed, and the jamidars, they could secure the ownership rights. So it was a win-win situation for both the jamidars and the British. Now, one more fact you must remember regarding this permanent settlement, that the British officials felt, they hoped that this permanent settlement would lead to an emergence of a class of rich farmers, and this class would be loyal to them because this class was being nurtured by the British. So they thought this class would be loyal to them. But this permanent settlement turned out to be a big failure. It didn't work. So why did it not work? Well, the permanent settlement, there were so many problems. There were so many problems associated with the permanent settlement. And I'll discuss the major problems associated with the permanent settlement. And the first major problem was to identify the individuals who could sign the contract as well as invest in agriculture. Now, eventually they managed to find some jamidars, but the revenue demand was extremely high. It was exorbitantly high. Why? Because British officials, they knew that they could not claim an increase in the future because the revenue rates were fixed. So initially they fixed high revenue demand. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the video, that agricultural prices were depressed, and farmers, they were unable to pay such high exorbitant rates. Now, what happened was that there was this provision of sunset clause under this permanent settlement. So what is the sunset clause? Well, this sunset clause, in accordance with this sunset clause, if the payment did not come in by sunset, then the ownership rights, the jamidari rights were liable to be auctioned. So it turned out to be a big failure. As I mentioned earlier, it didn't work the way they thought it would. And uh, so these are the important provisions, these are the important points regarding the permanent settlement. If you want to read more about the permanent settlement, you can read NCRT or whichever book you like, whichever history book you like. So if you have liked this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.